Hey guys, so I'm going to go over with you what we're doing today. Okay, today is October 22nd, 2020, and we are going to be reviewing our organizational patterns assignment that we had yesterday. If you remember, we did a Google slideshow, and I gave you 3 different paragraphs, and you were supposed to identify the organizational pattern in each one of those paragraphs. So we're going to go over that today, much like we did with the Nearpod. So on the Nearpod, I will say it's much easier to find the organizational pattern in those statements at the end of the Nearpod, because you can really see what they're doing within 1 to 2 sentences. Whereas in paragraphs, it's a little bit harder to actually be able to identify. So if you struggled with this, you're not the only one. And I want to tell you that this is hard. Okay, this isn't something that you're just going to come in and master. You have to practice it, and so it's okay if you didn't do well in it. We're going to go over it today, and we're going to talk about why each answer was the correct answer. Okay. All right. So this was what the organizational patterns assignment looked like yesterday. So I gave you 2 slides to kind of tell you what each pattern was, and then the second slide was to define it for you, to define each pattern. Let me make this a little bigger. Okay, so here are the definitions of each one of the patterns of organization. You have comparison and contrast. When we're looking at these two, we're placing 2 things side by side, basically to highlight their similarities and their differences. Okay, then the next one we have is cause and effect, and this is where you trace a chain and of cause and effect, and you're recognizing contributing causes. My favorite image for this particular pattern of organization is the picture of the dominoes, right? So you have them all standing up vertically. The minute that you push one over, it has a chain reaction, right? So that is a perfect image of cause and effect, okay? The next type is examples or exemplification. So in this type of organization, it provides a series of examples, facts, specific cases tied to a general conclusion. So just think of it like this. So the writer makes a point, and then they use several examples, okay, to prove their points. Classification, this places information into categories. Definition defines terms to ensure that writers and their audiences are speaking the same language. Problem and solution, this is where you're addressing one or more problems and solutions in an issue or to an issue. And then finally, advantage, disadvantage. This addresses the advantages and disadvantages in the issue. So let's look at our first paragraph. Oh man, there's a bunch of little buttons right here. Whoops, went too far. Okay, so this is the first paragraph that we are going to be looking at, and let me move me up a little bit so I'm not in the way. Okay, so this is the first paragraph that we're going to be looking at. So if you just looked at the highlighted information, this paragraph makes absolutely no sense. Okay, so it's very important that you read the paragraph all the way through so that you understand the context and that you can see what the the writer in this situation is trying to accomplish. Okay, so I'm going to read it. What's so cosmic about a burrito? Everything. It says something about us that Taco Bell makes billions of dollars in sales each year. That Koreans in this country are making millions by stuffing their barbecue in tortillas and selling them from fancy food trucks. And it's a good thing. Anyone who dismisses this reality as not indicative of something seismic in the American story is more deluded than someone who thinks refried beans are actually fried twice. It's been conquest by 1,000 tacos, a million tamales, and a hell of a lot of salsa, which surpassed ketchup as America's top-selling condiment back in the 1990s. All right, so the correct answer for this pattern of organization is cause and effect, okay? So because of the burrito, because of the invention of the burrito, Taco Bell makes billions of dollars in sales each year. Koreans in this country are making millions by stuffing barbecue and tortillas and selling them from food trucks, right? They talk about it's been conquest by 1,000 tacos, 1,000,000 tamales, and a hell of a lot of salsa. So salsa, because of the burrito, actually surpassed ketchup as America's top selling condiment back in the 1990s. Okay, so this is an example of cause and effect. So because the burrito was invented, all of these other things happened. All right. Okay, so hopefully we got that one correct. And if you're struggling with these and you still don't really understand what I'm talking about, then please feel free to email me. Please feel free to So please feel free to come in and talk to me anytime you have a question. And when I say come in, if you are not in person learning, then you can come into my office hours. Okay, that's posted on my home screen. On my welcome page. And I have a Zoom link open during that time of the day. If you're still struggling with these, because like I said, I know these are not easy. They take practice. And so if you're still struggling with these when we're finished with this, please reach out to me. Okay, so the next paragraph. All right, let's read it and try to identify the pattern of organization. All right, so Danny is an expert in zero-G burrito making. Hernandez radioed to Mission Control after their burrito party. It was a mission of celebration. Never had two Mexican Americans flown up in space on the same mission, and never did burritos shine so brightly. Sure, Hernandez and Olivas offered a service to their crewmates that hundreds of thousands of their fellow Mexicans provided daily back on Earth, prepping Mexican food for Americans more than happy to gobble it up. All right, so the pattern of organization here is compare and contrast. Okay, they're talking about Danny and they're talking about Hernandez and Olivas and their two chefs, they're two Mexican American chefs who have not only cooked and prepared food on Earth, but they've also gone into space and cooked and prepared burritos in space. Okay, so hopefully we got that one correct as well. Oh, it's the bell. Okay, and then the last pattern of organization paragraph. Okay, this book isn't about me though. It's about a food that deserves documentation, examination, celebration, and to be held as the epic it is. While Mexican culinary culture is an unquestioned part of America's gastronomic essence, the stories behind how we got to this point are largely unknown. The evolution of food in the United States has, until recently, been dismissed as a frivolous, but we're now in an age of culinary reminiscing, when scholars and journalists alike examine cuisine as customs. The history of Mexican food in the United States has bubbled up in articles and chapters in books over the years, but never in a full volume that tracks each foodstuff, each craze, each pioneer, and each controversy. So, the correct pattern of organization here is problem and solution. Okay, so the problem that the author is identifying is that Mexican food deserves to be documented, it deserves to be examined, it deserves to be celebrated. And it says that right here, the stories behind how we got to this point are largely unknown. Okay, and so that's the problem. Nobody's talking about Mexican cuisine. Nobody's documenting it. No one's examining it. No one's celebrating it, right? And so his solution is to write full books, full volumes of books that tracks each food, each craze, each pioneer, and each controversy. All right, so that was the correct answer for those three essays or those three paragraphs. Like I said, if you guys are still having a hard time identifying these patterns, please reach out to me and I can help you through that. So the next part of this assignment is to come down here and you're going to do an organizational patterns and argumentative writing. So basically you're going to look at a few paragraphs. You have 5 questions. You're going to look at a few paragraphs, not long ones, and you're going to determine the pattern of organization in there. Okay? Make sure that you answer the attendance question. The attendance question today is, which appeal, ethos, pathos, logos, do you think you are better at incorporating into your writing? All right, guys. Well, like I said, if you need my help, if you want my assistance, please reach out to me, either message, email, or come to my office hours.